Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Hold one, Andre.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
Oh my God!
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold two, on bar.
It's still real to me, damn it!
Dummy.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
Hold three, Lamas covered, three-handle family gradunzel.
Mamma mia!
And now, Unchained.media presents the B Plus Podcast with your host, Greg Unchained.
It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin!
Number 4, armbar.
I will never retire!
I still got 200 more. I got 200 more holes to list.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the B Plus Podcast. I am your host, Greg Unchained. Today is Friday, so you know what that means. It's time for Aussie Grapps Day. It's our favourite day here at the B Plus. As you know, it's the day where we break down everything that's happening in the world of Australian professional wrestling before sitting down to speak with one of our very own Aussie grapplers. This week, I sat down to speak with Matt Grimm Basso. He's one of the trainers at the Riot City Wrestling Academy. He is, of course, one of the greatest professional wrestlers we have in this country. He just got back from a brief run in the United States, which was not actually wrestling related, but I'll let him tell you all about that. First, let's take a look at this week in Australian wrestling news. Right off the bat, top story this week. Quite often it's World Series Wrestling announcements because they're quite exciting, but it's not. It's not a World Series Wrestling announcement this week. This week, the top story has to be an NXT UK spoiler. So I'm going to drop the spoiler warning here for anyone who wants to tune out, maybe skip a minute or two ahead so that you just make sure for sure that you don't hear this.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Rhea Ripley is the first ever NXT UK Women's Champion. You heard that correctly. There was a 2-day tournament held in the United Kingdom this last week for the NXT UK Women's Championship, first ever. The finals came down to Rhea Ripley, formerly known in Riot City Wrestling as Demi Bennett, of course, here in Australia. She went up against Toni Storm in the finals, another Australian competitor. So we have 2 Aussie girls fighting over the UK Championship. I'm a little concerned that WWE actually think that Australia and New Zealand are just part of the UK. I mean, I know technically we're part of the Commonwealth, but that's the Commonwealth. We're not actually part of the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom speaks to that specific little area there with England and Ireland and what have you. It doesn't really speak to us. We are not the United Kingdom, WWE, but hey, we'll take it. Really, really happy to see Rhea Ripley get the win there. I remember watching her at Riot City shows and thinking, this chick has it. I don't know what it is, but she has it, and she still does to this day. I'm very excited to see how she goes in the Mae Young Classic, and I'm very, very happy for her winning the first ever NXT UK Women's Championship. So hats off to Demi Bennett. We here at the B Plus are all very, very proud of you. Keep up the fantastic work representing Australia, representing Australian wrestling, and showing the world what we are capable of. Of course, hats off to Toni Storm as well. She's getting left out of this conversation a lot, but Toni Storm is another one who's out there really representing us and doing a brilliant job at it. So thank you very much, Toni. Hats off to both ladies. Congratulations on a phenomenal weekend. Now, in other WWE news that is also very much Aussie Grapps related, it has been announced that our boy, Buddy Murphy, will be taking on Cedric Alexander at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. That's a WWE Super Showdown on October 6th. He will be facing off one-on-one for the Cruiserweight Championship very exciting. Hopefully he wins the title. It'll be a big homecoming for him. We'll all go crazy. The roof will be blown off the place. That's a very exciting matchup for Australian wrestling fans. Congratulations, Buddy Murphy, on getting a shot at the Cruiserweight Championship at home in Melbourne. Speaking of Aussies representing us really well overseas and making their mark in the professional wrestling industry, the PWI 500 has been released. Now, the PWI 500 may need a little bit of explaining for some people. So, this list is actually in kayfabe, so it's not a list of who the best 500 wrestlers are. I've already seen people on Twitter talking about, how's Brock Lesnar number 4, or whatever Brock Lesnar was. And it's like, because in kayfabe, he's one of the most dominant forces in sports entertainment. This is a list that has been around for a long time, back when it was kind of the only way for people to keep up with things that were happening not in their area. So it was way before podcasts. It was an actual magazine, and people would get the magazine so they would know what is happening elsewhere in the country, in America, and elsewhere in the world. Now, we had a lot of people make the list this year. It's not the first time that we've had people make the list, but it is the first time that I've had a podcast and had people make the list. So we're going to talk about it. So Travis Banks came in at number 67, the top-ranking Aussie. Well, I claim him as an Aussie. He's actually from New Zealand, so let's go Aussies, hey? New Zealand are beating us. This isn't cool. But number 67, Travis Banks came in. We've got Buddy Murphy at number 234. Nick Miller at 271. Shane Thorne at 276. Jonah Rock at 351. Adam Brooks at 378. Robbie Eagles at 390. Mr. Juicy Gino Gambino at 400. And Mark Davis, one half of Aussie Open, at 437. Now, this is based on singles wins, so I expect Aussie Open to be higher up in the tag list. I expect Miller and Thorne to be higher up in the tag list as well. But in terms of singles wins, it's pretty cool to see these guys all crack the top 500. Congratulations, guys. Making us look real good, cracking the PWI top 500. Taking a look at something a little closer to home, Wonderful Entertainment announced on Wednesday night they are launching a series called Studio Superstars. Now, this is going to take place in Melbourne at the RMITV studios. It's a new concept in Australian wrestling, with Australia and New Zealand's wrestlers colliding for the first time ever in a television studio to be a part of a unique event that's going to be taped in front of a live studio audience for distribution. No word yet on what that distribution is. Wonderful do a lot of YouTube stuff, so I don't know if this is going to end up on YouTube or if it's going to end up on one of the pivot shares. Maybe it's going to become its own thing. I'm very excited to see what they've got in store. This is taking place on Wednesday and Thursday nights in Melbourne, which is a little odd. I mean, unless they're going for a younger audience with students. So being at RMIT as well, RMIT, for those who don't know, is a university that do specialize in sort of TV production and what have you, as far as I know. That's kind of the story there. So they have a studio and everything, and it's a university. So maybe they're going to target the students as an audience and try to bring new people in. A lot of wrestling fans work, and so having Wednesday and Thursday is a little odd, but I'm still very excited to see how it turns out. I hope they get a really good crowd. So that's taking place on Wednesday and Thursday, the 28th and 29th of November, the 5th and 6th of December, and the 12th and 13th of December. The lineup looks absolutely stacked just from having a look here. It's a little Melbourne heavy, but you expect that because it is Melbourne. So we've got Jonah Rock, Gino Gambino, Robbie Eagles, The Untouchables, Marcus Pitt and Damian Slater, of course, of TMDK, Super Dowie James, JXT, Loverboy Lockie Hendricks, Sid Parker and Erica Reed, Slade Mercer, Big Ali, Robbie Hart, Fox, Jake Lindo, Nick Berry, and many more to be announced. So every ticket, the tickets are $30, and that comes with a meet and greet with all the superstars. So look, it's definitely something to check out. I'll drop a link to the announcement in the show notes, and you can also purchase tickets there. So if you're in Melbourne and you want to be a part of something historic, something that's first time ever, a purpose-built TV studio for professional wrestling in Australia that's going to be distributed, we don't know how yet. If you want to be a part of it, head to the link in the show notes and check it out. Wonderful Entertainment Studio Superstars is one to keep an eye on. Speaking of one to keep an eye on, we've talked about this a few times now, PWA Colosseum. We have actually started to get announcements, and the announcement videos are fantastic, by the way. They start off with the Colosseum and the video clip, and then you hear the voice that says, "You have been noticed." And it's like a computerized voice. It's like very anonymous, very Mr. Robot, if you're familiar with that series. And they tell us who has been noticed, and then we see some highlight clips of that wrestler. 2 names have been announced so far as taking part in this Colosseum tournament. You'll remember that the tournament was listed as a tournament for the best pure grapplers in Australia. It's invitation only. So far, invitations have been extended and accepted by the one and only rapscallion Mick Moretti, leader of the Green Nation. He will be taking part in this tournament. Of course, Mick Moretti, we talked about last week with the hashtag You're Gonna Notice Us, now evolving into hashtag Now We Conquer. He will be looking to conquer the Colosseum on October 20th at Max Watts. Very exciting stuff. The second name announced and the first interstate name announced for the PWA Colosseum is Damian Slater, one half of the EPW Tag Team Champions, the Untouchables, a member of TMDK. He took part in the inaugural Cruiserweight Classic for the WWE. He is as well-travelled a guy as we have here in Australia. Damian Slater, one of the best grapplers in the country. He's actually one of the names I threw out when Mikey and I were sort of guessing off air who might end up in this tournament. So very excited to see Damian Slater announced, and I'm looking for him to go pretty far in this tournament too. We still don't know the tournament structure. I'm very much looking forward to it. If it's a one-night only single elimination thing, or if it's going to be some kind of round robin, or what they're going to do, I'm very excited to see what happens. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button. Go follow PWA, but of course follow the B Plus as well. We will be covering this as more news develops, as well as all your Australian wrestling needs. We cover everything. So let's have a look at what's happening in Melbourne City Wrestling at the moment. We're chugging along towards Fight to Survive. That takes place not this weekend, but next weekend. It does, of course, see the return of Adam Brooks to Melbourne City Wrestling, and his match was announced. Of course, he is going to be facing Stevie Phillip, a name that is on everybody's lips at the moment. He is one of the hottest and fastest rising talents in Australia. Everyone looks at this kid as someone to watch. So Adam Brooks taking on Stevie Phillip. This is a guy who's made his name while Adam Brooks has been gone over in the UK doing the exact same thing. It's going to be a very exciting matchup. We also got announcements this week that a former SPW champion, that is Southern Pro Wrestling over in New Zealand, a company that I've been watching on my Power Slam network, but I just never have. It always slips my mind to cover them, because when we talk Aussie Grapps, it's very easy for me to forget about New Zealand Grapps. So I'm very sorry that I don't cover them as much as I would like, but definitely be checking out Southern Pro Wrestling over in New Zealand. One of their former champions, J.K. Moody, is headed over to Melbourne City Wrestling for Fight to Survive. Very exciting stuff. J.K. Moody is one of the top guys over there. He had a fantastic match with Will Ospreay that I posted the highlights of on the Facebook page, so make sure you seek that out. I'll see if I can get a link for that one in the show notes to the YouTube channel, SPW New Zealand. They're on Power Slam TV, which is, as I said, $7 a month. You get great value for that one. You get Rise shows, you get Pro Wrestling Eve shows, you get some Melbourne City Wrestling shows, some EPW shows, and of course SPW as well. Their historic Rumble show, which took place just a couple of months ago, is up there now for you to stream, so definitely check that one out. We also got the announcement of an MCW Tag Team title match. The Brat Pack, Slick Nick Berry, and the Hydration Sensation, Mitch Waterman, will be defending their titles against Men for Hire. That is, of course, Jake Lindo and Campbell Crawford. Now, these matches are adding to, of course, the matches we talked about last week, the big 10-man Survivor Series style elimination match. And the whole thing is retro-themed. Everything is 80s, or like late 80s, early 90s themed. And MCW are even holding a costume competition. So if you dress like a 80s or 90s wrestling personality, it could be a wrestler, a referee, a manager, a commentator, whatever. As long as it's from the 80s or 90s, it's good. As long as it's retro, it is good to go. And you could win a prize pack of DVDs and such from Madman Entertainment. So that's really cool. Really good stuff from MCW to see them sort of engaging the crowd in exciting, fun ways like this. These kind of things are always fun, very exciting to see. I'm very excited to see some of the Instagram photos and stuff that pop up of people in costumes. I'm looking forward. Someone go as Paul Bearer, please. I always love a good Paul Bearer cosplay. I don't know why. I just find him a very entertaining. Rest in peace, of course, Paul Bearer. What an amazing body of work. But we're getting far away from Aussie Grapps there, so let's bring it on back. Iron Fist Pro continue to make announcements this week. If you have been listening to the show, you will know that I am very, very excited for Iron Fist Pro. We've gotten a couple more match announcements this week and a few more talent announcements as well. So added to the show, we have Tyler Trench, of course, the Wrestle Rampage guy. He has a big street fight against Jonah Rock this week, which looks like it's going to be an absolute cracker of a match. Rapid Fire Mike Boomer, high-flying cruiserweight style guy. Also from here in Adelaide, we've got the sniper Nick Golfus as well. And the matches that have been announced, we have Robbie Hart, Rat Daddy, Nick Golfus, and Tyler Trench in a fatal four-way. We have Indy Hartwell versus Joni May in the first ever women's match for Iron Fist Pro. We have the Velocities versus Mike Boomer and Link Barnett. That one is going to be crazy, high-flying action all over the place. I cannot wait to see the Velocities in an Adelaide ring. I'm really looking forward to this show. I cannot express enough. This show takes place September 28th at Published Art House here in Adelaide. The show is called Genesis. The company is called Iron Fist Pro. It is an absolute crime that they only have 179 likes on Facebook. Please like Iron Fist Pro. Give them a follow. Tell them we sent you. It's going to be amazing. The big one that I'm really excited for, Dean Valenti versus Tuff Stuff Ricky South, and in possibly my favourite tweet of the week. Well, actually, no, we'll get to a better one soon. But in one of my favourite tweets of the week, Ricky South said that this match is going to smell amazing. Of course, a reference to Dean Valenti having a signature scent, and Tough Stuff, I guess, considers himself a nice smelling dude, so this match is going to smell amazing. I just thought that was a very random and entertaining tweet, so keep up the good work, Tough Stuff Ricky South. We are big fans of you here at the B+. You're welcome to come on the show anytime. Looking forward to seeing you down here in Adelaide. Hopefully we can catch up or talk to you at the show, because that one is creeping up on us. As I said, September 28th. Definitely check it out if you're in Adelaide. Come up and say hi. I'll be the guy in the front row. Hopefully rocking an Iron Fist Pro shirt. I don't know if they're going to have them or not, but if they don't, I don't know. I'm hoping they'll have them so I can buy one and put it on immediately, because I am that stoked for this show. Now, having a look at some results from last week, the big one for me was EPW Vendetta, a main event cage match for the EPW Championships. That's Gavin McGavin challenging against the Don Michael Morleone. Gavin McGavin came out with the win. He is the new EPW champion, the first ever EPW Grand Slam champion. Real Wrestling has returned to Perth. I was really happy to see this result, and I cannot wait to see the show when it goes up on demand. I'll keep you guys informed. I'll let you know as soon as it hits my little screen. I get the notification. I'll tell you, because this is going to be one to watch. If you're not on the Vimeo or the Pivot Share, subscribe to EPW. Make sure you get out there and do that, because EPW put on one of the best products in Australia. They were, of course, one of the companies that did the tour with Progress. So that's a really good place to start. If you already know Progress, guys, you can always jump on it with that one, and that'll introduce you to the EPW guys. But definitely worth checking out EPW. They have some of my favorite characters in Australian professional wrestling as well, including Gavin McGavin and Taylor King. If you don't know Taylor King, you've got to be checking out Taylor King. He had an amazing entrance at, I want to say it was Evolution a couple of months ago. I don't want to spoil it. I just want to say that he has a Disney Child Star gimmick, and you got to watch it. But bringing it back, congratulations, Gavin McGavin, on not only being one of my favorite professional wrestlers in Australia, but also proving what real wrestling can be and becoming the first ever EPW Grand Slam champion. Really happy to see that. We've had a few announcements from EPW as well. Jonah Rock is returning. That's going to take place at Reawakening, which is the biggest show in the EPW calendar. That's on November 3rd this year. So if you're in Perth, make sure you get your tickets to Reawakening. The King of Monsters returns to EPW on November 3rd. We had a tag team title match at EPW Vendetta where the Untouchables, Marcus Pitt and Damian Slater, defended their championships against Nacho Friends. And then later in the night, we had a number one contendership match, which saw the Street Gang Hooligans overcome David Nero and Kyle Steria to become the number one contenders. And that means we're going to get the Untouchables versus the Street Gang Hooligans on November 3rd at Reawakening. Now, Marcus Pitt sent out a tweet that it was absurd that no one is talking about this match, and I agree with him. These guys have had a series of matches. One took place at Reawakening last year, which was a show-stealing match, a fantastic match. If you have EPW on demand, but you haven't gotten back to that November show from last year, make sure you do. If you don't have EPW from the vault, then you need to get it, and you need to watch this match. You need to get hyped for what is to come. They had another match in February. It was a 3 stages of hell match. Now, each of these teams have a win over the other. And now we get the rubber match, this time for the EPW Tag Team Championships. This is my sleeper match for Australian Match of the Year. I'm just going to say, I know we've had some crackers in the last month with, Rock and Naito, Ugg and Rock, Osprey and Slex, Osprey and Robbie Osprey, and Stevie Osprey, and Lockie. Osprey's a big contender up there as well. For me, of course, I also put the Four Nations and the Velocities up there as well. I really, really enjoyed those matches. But this one's a sleeper. This one's not a lot of people are talking about it, and it's a real shame, and you should be talking about it. Please, please check out EPW. Check out Reawakening from 2017 with the Untouchables versus Street Gang Hooligans. Then they had another match, a 3 stages of hell match at Hot Summer Nights, where the Street Gang Hooligans came out on top. You need to check out these matches and get hyped, get excited. If you're in Perth, get down and check out the match live when it takes place on November 3rd at Reawakening. If you're not in Perth, wait patiently like I do for it to pop up on demand, or fly to Perth if you have that kind of money. Hell, if you want to take me with you, I would love to see this match live and in person, but definitely be checking this one out. It's not one to sleep on. Speaking of exciting tweets, something that got a lot of people talking and got a lot of buzz in the Australian wrestling world this week was a tweet sent out by Gino Gambino. It said this: just a hot tip. When wrestlers ask for cash for a photo, it's not because they are playing a character or trying to rip you off. It is genuinely how we make a living. Those dollars go towards food, travel, hotels, ring gear, etc. This is my job. This is how I get paid. That was a slow clap. It's probably going to sound terrible on the microphone, but slow clap for Mr. Juicy. Gino Gambino hits the nail on the head here.
If I can be serious for a minute, without being interrupted.
Don't be a dick. Fans, when we pay for our tickets to go to these shows, what we get for the price of admission is a wrestling show. Nothing more, nothing less. It is a blessing that the wrestlers come out at intermission. It is a blessing that the wrestlers come out after the show. Yes, they do need to make their money, and so they're out there at the merch desk, and they're basically salespeople at that point. But you know what? 9 times out of 10, they aren't salespeople at all. They're just hanging out, and they're happy to see you, and they're happy to say hi, and they're happy to have a quick chat. They've got a lot of people to get to, but I have never been to an Aussie wrestling show where the people who come out and hang out at the merch desk and say hi to fans are not incredibly accommodating. They always are, whether they're working face, whether they're working heel. I mean, I hear stories from, I wasn't at the show, of course, but I hear stories from Wrestling Go, where Matty Wahlberg, even though, during the night he's working heel and he's getting heat on all these kids that are at ringside, he comes out and talks to the kids after and sort of, he's a little more playful with them and a little more apologetic and what have you. And it's, I mean, come on. These guys need to fund the thing that they do, that you love. You're going to watch them because you get enjoyment out of it, right? You would not expect to work for free at your place of employment. It's not like this is a hobby, right? This is a second job for these guys. The amount of time it takes to be in the gym looking good is hard. Well, especially when they also have to work regular jobs as well, most of them. It's not, it's almost a full-time job on top of a full-time job. And for you to say, no, I'm not going to pay you $5 for a photo, that's just ridiculous, right? And I mean, the same thing goes for bands. The same thing goes for artists of any kind. art isn't free. Art not only takes, in wrestling, it takes a physical toll, it's still an art form, so it takes an emotional and mental toll to produce this thing that you are consuming, and you're like, give me more. And as wrestling fans at the moment, we are spoiled. There is so much wrestling to watch, there is so much wrestling to consume, and then we go out to a wrestling show, and it's not enough that they go in there and they put their bodies on the line and they, drain themselves to perform for our entertainment. That's not enough. You then want a free photo. You want, I'm sure you're probably asking for a free shirt as well. I mean, come on, guys. Let's grow up. Let's be adults, and let's pay the wrestlers what they're worth, because they're worth a lot more than we give them credit for. That's my little rant there, so sorry about that one, but the tweet really got me riled up, because the fact that someone would say that, like, oh, he's trying to rip us off, that's ridiculous. They shouldn't have to hear that, man. Like, this is their place of work. Like, grow up. Seriously. Moving on, World Series Wrestling have limited tickets remaining. So in Melbourne, there are only 65 tickets for night 1 and 14 tickets for night 2. This is as of Monday. And then as of Tuesday, Sydney had, I think it was 40-something tickets as well. So if you don't have tickets for World Series Wrestling yet, it has a lot of the top Australian names announced already, and I'm sure there's more to come. You're also looking at major internationals like Walter, Austin Aries, Brian Cage, Cody, Brandy, Marty Skrull, Flip Gordon. I mean, it's a stack to it. Joey Janela. How did I forget Joey Janela? Oh, wow. I wonder if he's going to be alive after his match with the Joey Killer Hangman Page at All In. But I digress. This is a huge tour. Tickets are going fast, so you definitely want to jump onto worldserieswrestling.com to get those tickets. I didn't see anything about Perth. I've said this every week now. Perth, pick your game up. You replaced Adelaide on this damn tour. I'm pissed off that I don't get to go see it live, so why don't you sell some of your damn tickets, tell your friends, go out and check out the hottest wrestling show that Australia has to offer. Pick your game up, Perth. You can do this. Now, the last news item of the week that is going to take us right into our interview, Riot City Wrestling, my home promotion, have been releasing a lot of hype-up promos and what have you for the upcoming RCW 200. One that really took my notice, and I talked about this yesterday on the bonus episode with Wolfdog as well when we broke down the card, but what was announced as an RCW triple threat match for the championship, I talked about this after I attended Power Trip, that there was going to be this triple threat for the championship between Chris Basso, the defending champion, Zach Sabbath, and Nick Armstrong, the former champion. Now, it turns out that there was a bit of miscommunication. Jimmy C, the general manager of Riot City Wrestling, has communicated to the gentleman that it's not for the Riot City Wrestling Championship at all. The match is actually going to be for the managerial services of The Chick. If you want to hear more about the story, check out the preview episode that I did yesterday with Wolfdog. The link will be in the show notes, but for now, let's cut across to my chat with Grimm, where we talk about everything Riot City Wrestling and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I'll hit you after the break with all the shows that are happening this weekend in Australian wrestling. Alright people, we are live from the beautiful Riot City Wrestling Academy facilities, and I am joined at the moment by none other than Matt Grimm Basso.
G'day.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
Mate, fantastic. Yes, sun's shining, we're out here, we're at the gym, we're walking out.
It's been a really nice day today.
It has.
Yeah, it's kind of shocked me, it snuck up on me.
Except I was trapped inside at the day job all day, which is always fun.
Yeah. Well, see, I wore joggers out to the gym. And then I realised that as I got in the car, I'm like, it's really hot. I probably could have worn my shorts. And then it was very sweaty and I was a mess.
Okay. Well, this is a fun conversation so far. That's great.
We're all refreshed. And you've just gotten back from overseas.
I have.
You were living the rock star life for a while.
Yeah, well, I live in the roadie life. My now fiancée.
Congratulations.
Thank you. She's the one living the rock star life. Her band was touring and they got a lot of really good gigs over there in the States. So I got to tag along with them. Lucky they weren't too sick of me to keep me along for the ride.
Yeah, so give them the plug.
The Babes.
The Babes.
If you haven't checked out the Babes, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, look up the Babes Rock. It's like awesome 80s biker rock, just dirty Aussie rock. It's fantastic. So they actually got, well, the main reason they went over there, so they're on a bunch of other things like Reverb Nation and whatnot, and like I think 90% of their followers are in America. They're actually a lot bigger over there than they are here.
Yeah.
And here we're already like they're getting some big shows and some supporting some big names and whatnot that are coming down. But went over there, and all of a sudden the other, every bar we walked into, like, oh, the Aussies are here, like, rah, rah, and had these, walked into one called One Eye Jacks down at Sturgis. We walked in there, and there was this giant banner. It was about 10 feet across and about 6 feet high, with them almost life-size bloody picture on there, like, the babes here this day. We're like, oh, this is amazing.
That's surreal.
Yeah, so it was really cool. So everyone check out the Babes Rock.
And while you were over there, you did manage to pick up a few dates. I saw you pop up on Hollywood Championship Wrestling.
Yes, which was great. So, yeah, lucky enough that while I was over there, we got to have a couple of days spare where I could get into... It was all in LA. So Championship Wrestling in Hollywood, which was fantastic. And bar wrestling as well, with Joey Ryan running that one. Yeah, it was... The amount of talent over there is surreal. Yeah, just like the quality of guys on the shows and whatnot. It's like another level up, which is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you worked with the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. You worked the same tapings as David Arquette.
I did. What a coincidence. The one show I'm over there, David Arquette is on.
Making his return.
Oh, man. I was so happy when I saw that announced. I was like, are you kidding? Is this real? Oh, God. Wrestling's not fake.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But you didn't have the horn with you.
No.
I was quite upset watching from home, seeing it. I was surprised to see you pop up. I didn't know that you were there.
Oh, there you
I'm
go.
like, oh, hey, here's Grimm.
Oh,
where's the horn?
Yeah, no, I had thought about bringing the merch over and whatnot, but especially with the horns, because they're actual horn, getting them through customs was just going to be more pain in the ass than it was worth. So,
yeah, fair enough.
I left them here. I had thought about trying to find one over there and see if I could, I don't know, just buy one and then leave it somewhere and whatnot. But,
yeah, it wasn't worth it.
Nah, it wasn't worth it, and didn't really have time. We were busy doing other stuff, going to Disneyland and going on rides and stuff like that. So I didn't really want to go shopping for another horn when I've got about another 100 sitting at home still. So if anyone wants to buy a horn, come to our show.
It's the best merch idea. I love it so much. It's so unique.
Just drinking out of it, you feel like a bloody king. It's amazing. Yeah,
it's impressive. So it all plays in obviously to the Viking gimmick.
Yes.
How did that come about?
I'd sort of been floating around it for years and years, and finally just, I don't know, our love for, like, myself and my brother, our love for Vikings and whatnot, we finally just went, let's just go full gimmick with it. Like, and I went into it, he ended up going a different path and went pretty much as far from a Viking as he could. Now wearing sparkly Ric Flair style robes and whatnot. But
he's world class.
Yeah, there you go. He is. But no, it all sort of came about from that. Like I said, we've been toying around with it for years and years and never really committed to it. There was that era of wrestling where gimmicks had sort of died down. Everyone was trying to be a bit more serious with their characters, and we did, like, so I went from Grimm to Matt Grimm Basso because you needed a name rather than just a gimmick thing. Just gimmicks are more fun.
Yeah.
I just love, just being able to go full character and you don't have to worry about being too serious. You just have some fun out there. Yeah. So eventually we just did that again.
I like the way WWE are playing it at the moment. They've got the War Raiders, right? Which
they do.
They're working like a Viking style gimmick too, and they've kind of been playing it on NXT like they're Viking enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Which is a nice middle ground, I suppose, but it's not as fun as the full on. These guys are Vikings that have somehow travelled through time.
There you go. Yeah, and I suppose in a way, like I'm sort of playing that as well. Like I'm not, we've got that heritage, but I'm not saying that, I once again travelled through time. I arrived at the venue on a longboat.
That would be cool though.
Yeah.
That would be cool. No.
Would love to come out with an axe and bring that into the no DQ matches, but I think that's sort of like probably frowned upon.
That's some next level stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could handle that.
Yeah. It's a no DQ match, technically.
Well, technically.
Are you allowed to stab a guy in a no DQ match?
Do you still have to operate within the law? Is there? You're the wrestler. You sign contracts and things. Do they have like waivers?
No.
So you can't be arrested for your actions, or
let's just pretend they don't, and then if we get arrested, we'll take it from there.
But it's sports entertainment. That's a defense, right? Use the sports entertainment defense.
New Jack.
So I don't know if you've seen, like, just while we're talking about the Viking thing, but there is actually a new promotion in Queensland that are just calling out your name, as far as I can tell.
Valhalla?
New Valhalla Wrestling.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can we expect to see the Viking Grimm show up in New Valhalla?
I don't know. Can we? I don't know.
I'd love to see it. I mean, I haven't seen any of the shows yet. Come on, guys, get them online.
There you go.
But-
No, they. I've had a chat to them. I think there could potentially be something in the works, but nothing's been sort of put down in paper yet. So we'll find out. But I like the look of their product. Obviously, as a massive Viking nerd myself, I'm like seeing this and I'm going, that's some pretty cool stuff. Like,
yeah.
So it'd be cool to get involved with. I think they're relatively new. They're just sort of starting up, but they seem to take the right direction where they're making a whole brand image and whatnot, and it's good to see.
Yeah, I enjoy it a lot. I mean, I've got my Mjolnir earrings in.
Good. I did see the tree on the other side
and
as well.
And the Yggdrasil on the other side, yeah.
Well played.
I didn't do that for you. I don't change them very often.
Okay.
It just happened to be that those were the ones I was wearing.
Fist bump. There you go. You guys couldn't hear that fist bump, but it was...
It was a solid fist bump. It might have picked up, actually. This microphone's kind of high end. So I know you do a bit of acting here and there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that play into the pro wrestling and the acting, and do they help each other out?
I think they do. Well, that's the idea anyway. So a while ago, it's long stories now of how I sort of envisioned getting into it and whatnot. So have you heard of a guy called Ladybeard?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So Australian
big in Japan.
Yeah, big in Japan. He's killer. He's one of the he's an absolute legend.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, I was chatting to him a few years ago when he was down, and he was talking about how you always want something that's, it's the same sort of thing we tell our guys. You always want something that's going to make you stand out and whatnot. Yeah, and he was talking about how, he's looking at, he was learning languages, he was doing whatever he could to stand out. He obviously stands out like crazy. He's 6-foot man in Asia wearing a dress with a beard and giant hairy chest.
Yeah.
Sings heavy metal. So he was talking about how, because I've got this look, if I was to get approached by WWE or something like that, because they've also got their WWE studios, if I had a background in acting and stunts and that sort of stuff as well, that could potentially look good on a resume.
Yeah.
So it sort of chased from there, and then I got we were talking about stuff like sword fighting, acting, just reenacting costumes, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then got a good opportunity through Fury Fingers, who, good plug, Fury Fingers. If you haven't checked them out on YouTube, go look at them. They make video game parodies and things like that.
Okay, cool.
Actually awesome. So got a good opportunity through there through one of my mates. Justine was in one of their last videos, and then they were telling her about their next project, and they need a guy to fill this spot. And she's like, I know the guy. So she put me onto them, and then went down there, had a chat, and was, I don't know, chatting a beer later, and next thing we're making these shows. So then through that, I just got to try all this other stuff. So with different roles, I got to try, sword fighting. I had choreographers coming in, like working on fight scenes with us and whatnot, which is great because I got to work. So I know wrestling, but I didn't know screen choreography.
Yeah, like it's a different beast.
Yeah, that's it. So even the whole thing of like having to miss each other and doing like little short segments of like, your fight scene will be, it might be a 1 minute fight is a long fight sort of thing, but they'll do sort of 10 seconds at a time. And they're going like, all right, we're going to have a long one here. It's going to be like 15 seconds. Is that all right? And I'm like, geez, I'm used to doing like a 20-minute match. Like, this will be fun. But it's I thought it would be fine, but it's way more intricate for screen because you have to do it exactly the same every time for multiple camera angles, for multiple takes, and blah, blah, blah. So it's a whole nother skill in itself. He was just giant lummox me sort of thinking like, all right, I can wrestle, I can throw people around, I'll be fine with this. No, it was great. They had, some of the guys there that were they're really skilled fight choreographers. Like they're working on, especially Anthony's working on Marvel movies and stuff now as well.
It's impressive.
Yeah, it was humble as hell. Like he's coming in going like, hey guys, we're going to do this. It's going to be heaps of fun, blah, blah, blah. And then he's telling me about the stuff that he actually does.
Yeah.
Not because he's showing off, because I'm asking.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy hell, you're an actual guy. You're like,
it's kind of a big
deal.
You're
not just like a little Adelaide guy that's stuffing around here. You're like, oh, the shit. This is great. And it was a world of knowledge and just real humble. So it's just showing us a whole bunch of stuff, and I don't know, everything just sort of snowballed and kept growing and growing, and I really enjoy it. I think it's great. I think the idea of how much it's helped me for realizing how much I overact in wrestling have a tendency to just pull stupid Jim Carrey faces the whole time.
Okay, yeah.
Which can be entertaining, but I
try
and find my range now.
There's people, Kenny Omega is someone who does that a lot, and there's been a lot of criticism of him lately since he became champion. I think that he's overselling and stuff, and I'm like, I think haters are just going to hate. I kind of like it. I like the cartoony overselling.
Yeah, well, I think the whole thing is that there's different styles of wrestling.
Yeah.
And so when I started, it was definitely that era of like, everything bigger is better, and we've never had to play too much for TV in Australia. It's all been live crowds.
Yeah.
Live crowds, everything's got to be big, got to play to all four sides. The people in the back row have to see the face you're making. And then the big difference was when I headed to Texas, and we were looking at TV stuff there. And then we went to Championship Wrestling in Hollywood, and they're looking at TV stuff there. Because you're on TV and the camera, you guys can't see what I'm doing, but it's literally just your head and shoulders sort of thing when they do the close-ups.
Yeah.
If you make those big stupid faces the whole time, you can actually look a bit silly. So depending on the style that people are after, if they're after a serious style and that's the only thing you can do is the silly stuff, you can lose out there. But I still enjoy doing the silly stuff.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
So it's all like contextual, like where you are, like different promotions or different things.
Yeah, that's it. You want to be versatile. If you can only work one style, then you're limiting yourself. If you can work a bunch of different styles, then great. You can go into like whatever angle, whatever promotion, whatever sort of story you need.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I'm getting a bit of the trainer here. I'm
yes,
hearing it.
Sorry.
I'm hearing it come out.
I have a tendency to do that. Yes.
Yeah, I'm hearing it come out. And look, it's great. I mean, obviously, you've got some lovely facilities here. Just before we started, you gave me a little bit of a tour.
Yes.
It's very impressive. You've got the full gym and everything. I didn't expect that. So I've been to a couple of other wrestling gyms and they've got a couple of workout things, but you've got a full gym there. We've
been pretty lucky. So when we started, we never wanted to open up our own gym. It was just we wanted to wrestle. And eventually, when we were in the position that we were starting it out, we're like, okay, well, if we're going to do this, let's do it properly. Let's look from sort of ground up. What do we need? Okay, we definitely need a training school. Like, well, we definitely need to get bigger, so we need weights. We definitely need blah blah blah, and went that way. And it's been a long process, but it's been pretty good because we've had the right sort of people around us that have sort of committed and helped us out and whatnot. Because, especially in the early days, it's not cheap to sort of start out a company like that. And you have up months and down months where depending on shows attendances and whatnot. But we've been really fortunate that we've been going for a long time now. Like we're in, I should probably know this. I think it's 12th year or something like that now. So over that time, we've just been able to upgrade and, where we started off with some cheap weights equipment, we've been able to replace the cheap stuff with the better quality stuff. And then, I could also use this and now we'll get that. We used to have 2 rings and then we actually, it was limiting having 2 wrestling rings in the training facility and we got more out of having an open mat area where we can have multiple people training at once rather than the ring where you're a bit more tied into the center. So everything's just sort of been an ongoing process where we've just been refining how we do things, refining how many nights we train, and refining the styles that we do. When we started out, it was the typical old school wrestling style where it was, you do your X amount of 100 squats at the start and whatnot. And there's still obviously an element to that, but I suppose just the way through smartening up, I guess. Yeah, even at the WWE tryouts, they were saying the same thing where they're like, that old style of Japanese training, we just don't do that anymore because you're not going to do 200 squats in a match. So we'll do, we'll do 50 in your warm up, and then we'll do another 50, and we'll do like little sets and circuits, sort of things like that. It's going to be easier on your body, so your joints are going to be preserved for longer. You should still get match fitness by the sort of circuit training that we're doing, and you still get that sort of stuff from your in-ring. Like they don't bump anywhere near as much anymore. It's more so rolls and things like that. Stuff that's really looked at preserving the body, rather than just sort of hammering. Because that was essentially the old style. Was like you get hammered, you get beaten down, and then if you survive through that, then they teach you how to be a wrestler, sort of thing.
Separating the men from the boys.
Yeah,
kind of thing,
obviously that's like it wasn't even completely that when we started. That was like more sort of 60s days where it was like there was a huge kayfabe era around it, sort of thing. Yeah. And I think that style has slowly been weeding out where we can't do that to people anymore because you just...
Right. Well, looking at the product as a fan myself, looking at the product, I feel like wrestling is at its best at the moment. Like, arguably. For me, I find that the quality of wrestling across the world and here in Australia has just improved massively. And I think part of it has to do with the shedding of those traditions.
I think there's a lot of pressure at the moment as well. How do you say this? So if you were a crap wrestler back in the day, it was a lot harder to get found out as a crap wrestler because you didn't have the internet there and you didn't have everyone sort of slagging you off. It was harder to get the word around from different promotions and whatnot.
Right.
Whereas now, for good or bad, it's easy to go, like, if you're really good and you've got your clips going up on YouTube and things like that, and people can see that and they go, this guy's really good, we should book him over here, blah, blah, blah. Or if you're really crap, that all it takes is that one viral video to go around of you doing a suicide dive and, like, forgetting to jump and just hitting the rope or something like that. I don't know, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
And then word travels around. So there's a high standard that schools want to keep where they don't want to be associated with that, which means that they're going to push you harder before they put you out there. And no one wants to be that guy. So, I don't know. I always say to our guys, like, it's really easy to be a shit wrestler. Are we allowed to say shit?
Yeah, of course.
I've said it a few times.
No, that's
cool.
fine.
It's not
that's
ABC
fine.
radio or anything.
No, it's not.
Cool.
No.
All right.
We try to keep it as family friendly as possible, but if you want to go wild, you can go wild.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. It's really easy to be a shit wrestler and it's really hard to be a good wrestler. And I think the standards that people are pushing themselves to now and the reputations that people are trying to uphold for themselves, it forces you to get in there and train. And forces you to, like, really look at your whole product, because if you want people to vouch for you, they're not going to do that if you're crap anymore.
Yeah.
There's a bit more on the line.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I look at Riot City Wrestling, I see some of the best workers in the country,
Thank you.
And a lot of that, I mean, it's a testament to, some of the best up-and-comers as well. My personal favourite tag team in Australia, the Pareja.
Good.
Right?
Good. Yes.
So,
yeah.
It's a testament to your training and everything that you guys are all doing here. What advice do you have for anyone, whether they're wanting to come out here, whether they're in Melbourne and they want to go to MCW, they want to go to PWA, wherever they want to go?
Yeah.
What advice do you have for people that are looking to get in?
Okay. Where to start? Okay, for a start, find a good school. And I say that because there's a lot of people that claim to be a good school and they don't really care. So what I think of a good school is, look at the guys they're putting out. Are they quality? But the main thing is safety. There's lots of schools around that are just like, it's whether they're struggling for guys to get on shows or something like that. They'll put people out there before they're ready.
Right.
They'll put people in the ring before they're actually, trained up and safe and ready to go. And they'll end up either injuring themselves or injuring other people. And that's just not the way to go. So you want to go to a school that's, I suppose, got a reputation for being hard to get onto shows. Because if it's easy to get onto shows, there's something gone wrong. Because this isn't easy what we do. This is a hard sport. There's a lot of skill to it, and it takes a long time to learn. If you're getting in the ring in 2 or 3 months, something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
But that said, so find a good school. I would say don't just commit with your first one. If you've got a suspicion that maybe this other one was better or something like that, you don't have to commit. Lots of people get scared about going to another one because it's once you're in your comfort zone, you're there and you know the people, and that's easy enough. But feel free to try out some other things and whatnot, because different trainers are always going to have different opinions, different styles they prefer, different knowledge, even just from so we're lucky here that we've got a few different trainers, and we've done that on purpose because I'm bloody tall, so I can't teach people to do high-flying stuff. I can roughly tell them what to do, but I think the last time I tried a Hurricane Rhino, I somehow punched myself in the face. So on the way down. So
I can see how that works.
There you go. So I'll get either Cree, like my brother Cree, or the Armstrongs to teach that sort of stuff, like the high-flying things.
Yeah.
If we want to learn holds-based stuff, we've got a guy, Marvel, who he was trained back in the 80s by the old school dudes. It was all holds-based stuff.
Yeah.
So he's a master at that sort of stuff. So everyone's got their own little individual things, and we've got different trainers on different nights. So depending on which night you're on, you're going to learn different skills, and that people are going to emphasize different things. And we set that up deliberately just as a way. So not everyone's cookie cutter, if that makes sense. Not everyone's going to learn the same thing. Not everyone's going to learn the same way. So everyone's going to excel at different things, and they're going to, how do I say this? It gives everyone the opportunity to
sort of find their thing.
Yeah. Like if all I'm doing, if I'm the only trainer and all I'm teaching is big man power moves and whatnot, then the little guys that can't do that are never going to progress.
Right. But
because we've got different trainers, they're all going to be able to find their avenue and get trained in that style and progress through. So you want to find someone that's got a school that's got options for you as well. I want to say they've got options for shows. And just when you do decide to do it, if you do decide to do it, take it seriously. It's a serious sport. It's not something that should be taken lightly. It's not something that you could just, or you should just, have a dabble in and just listen to the trainers because they've been through it and they know what they're doing, hopefully. And just commit. Yeah. It's
absolutely.
Like, I don't know, if you want to play footy, you can go down the park and kick the footy. If you want to be a wrestler, you've got to do it. Like, it's just, you can't just go down the park and have a wrestle sort of thing.
So would you advise against people that are like, I just want to do it on weekends for fun? Would you advise against, like, if you're not serious about being a champion, being the best, you shouldn't be doing it?
No. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a weekend warrior, but if you just want to be a weekend warrior and you only want to stay in, say, Adelaide and just wrestle, once a month or something like that, like, you might only be that guy, and that's fine. But I'm still expecting you to do the weights, to do the cardio, to do all the training or whatnot to make sure that you're safe.
Yeah.
I'm still expecting that same amount of effort as the guy who is expecting to, or is hoping to go over to the States or go over to Japan or something like that. Because the risks involved, whether you're a weekend warrior or trying to make it to the top, the risks involved are the same.
Yeah.
So we need to train our bodies to be able to cope with the same thing, regardless of where your intent of going is.
Right. So be the best weekend warrior you can be, which is actually kind of great advice for life.
Yeah, definitely. There you go. Because, not everyone wants to go to WWE. Not everyone wants to, like, people have lives here, people have families, people have jobs. Some people just like Australia and don't want to go anywhere else. And that's totally fine.
Absolutely.
Some of the best wrestlers I know are guys that have, like, barely left Australia, or like bad example because he clearly has, but David Storm from Perth.
Yes.
So he's went over trained with the New Japan Dojo like years and years and years ago with I think it was in California at the time, I think.
Yeah, they've got the dojo over there. And at the moment, it's like Rocky Romero and stuff.
It's like reopened and whatnot.
Yeah.
But for years he never really travelled out of Australia after that. I don't even think from what I understand, he rarely travelled around Australia even.
Yeah.
He mostly stayed in Perth.
Yeah.
That guy's phenomenal.
He is.
He's amazing. Like, such a talent, and obviously a world of knowledge. Like, he's been running the school over there, and that's one of the things that actually really helps out with your own skills is when you actually have to tell people as a trainer, like, what to do. You're constantly looking for the little 1% things and have to point out and think of, like, all right, what, that was a headlock takedown, but why did that look a little bit weird? Like, was it his foot positioning? Was it his timing? Was it the other person? So you're constantly on the lookout and constantly looking for those sorts of things and having to identify them, and that just drills in your head as well. So the amount of talent that is coming out of his school is phenomenal. So he's obviously, like, and it's not just him, there's other trainers over there as well.
Yes.
So guys like Trent and whatnot, who I'm not blanketing over you guys. But I just rambled. God, what were we talking about?
This happens when we do podcasts. We're doing it live.
There you go.
Yeah.
So some of the best wrestlers around are just weekend warriors. They might have originally had dreams of traveling around and whatnot, and then their circumstances changed, and now they just sit around and whatnot. They can still be fantastic wrestlers just because they haven't gone anywhere.
Yeah, so just be the best that you can be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so bringing it back, though.
Yeah.
Riot City Wrestling.
Yes, I've heard of it.
200.
Yes.
200th show coming up.
Yes.
Big milestone. Congratulations.
Thank you.
For those that are out of state listening or even out of country listening, we've got listeners in Iran.
Oh, jeez.
Repeat listeners.
Hello, Iran.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, for those who don't know much about Riot City, I always tell people on this show, get on the YouTube because Riot City Wrestling is one of the most accessible Australian promotions you can get.
Thank you.
But why don't you tell us a bit about the Riot City Wrestling story? It started way back when.
Yeah.
Now we're at 200 shows.
Yeah, mate, I honestly... there wasn't necessarily a plan to make it to 200. We just knew that we wanted to keep wrestling, and the situations that we were in at the time, we'd started the company. We didn't have our school originally. We were getting trained by another guy. Why am I having a mental blank here? Tony Stone. He was one of the head trainers down at the Monster Factory before that closed, and then so he opened up the Snake Pit Wrestling Academy, and we were getting him to train us for another year and a half, and then eventually that one closed. And that was the point where we opened up our own. And yeah, mate, we've been very fortunate that we had a bit of a vision of that we didn't want it to just be a ring in a room with just house lights and stuff like that. We wanted to, invest in productions and invest in a proper ring and things like that. So, a little while down the track, we got a ring imported over from the States, and that was one of the first flex beams going around here, which is like the new technology of ring. And that was really great. It's still going great. Yeah, I don't even know where to start with bloody 200 shows. I was legitimately having a moment the other day. I even put a thing on Facebook about that the 100th show was over 5 years ago, and it doesn't even feel like it. It feels like the time's just flown.
Yeah.
We had our 10-year show in that time as well. We had, looking at some of the names that were on our 100th show who are now on the other side of the world, or not even wrestling anymore, or got wives and kids and blah, blah, blah. It's been surreal trying to recall all the things and all the people that have changed. And
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm finding a lot when I talk to people who've been doing it a while that it does get that way. It's kind of like it all becomes like a big, long, amazing, beautiful blur.
Yeah.
That, like, you can't really pinpoint what happened and when or why. But
no, especially not as wrestlers, because we get hit in the head a lot. But yeah, we've been lucky. We've had some great guys through here. We've had some international guys come through here. We've been able to try new projects with getting sort of outside trainers come through. We've been able to upgrade our school. We've moved venues a bunch of times. Like recently, we just started at HQ as well, which is the premier nightclub. I think it won the award for the premier nightclub in Australia as well.
The production value on that show, the Live at the HQ show, was phenomenal.
Yeah, it's sensational. We rocked up there and we're like, we can do a lot with this. This is great. Like,
yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's hard to get into because they're, it's such a big nightclub that lots of their dates are taken up. But we're back in there next year, and we're hoping to hammer that one through a bit more often, which is great because it's next level again of just production values and I think the atmosphere in there. By the time the ring was in and people were all packed in and whatnot, like we got a huge crowd in there. It's like 3 levels, and there's actually more levels. So as the crowd grows, there's room for it to grow even further. We can get balconies and stuff involved. It just felt like a party in there.
Yeah.
To me, anyway.
Absolutely. And people can check that show out on YouTube as well.
You can, and you should.
Super Clash, the whole playlist. I'll drop it in the show notes for people to check out. Now, look, before we do the go home, I got 5 quick questions I like to fire off.
All right.
Dream match.
Oh. This is a dream. Right?
Yes.
So not reality. Can I say 90s Kane?
Sorry?
Can I say 90s Kane?
90s Kane, absolutely.
Yeah, like the one sleeve Kane?
Yes.
Yes. There you go. As long as we can get to the double choke spot where he goes to choke slam and you end up doing it back together. And
nice classic big man.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Favorite person to work that you have worked with?
Jeez, I'm going to offend someone here by missing them out.
That's why I do this question. I
God.
want to get you some heat.
Let's say, because I think every time I get in the match with him, we have fun and it goes well. Adam Brooks. Yep. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Brooksy. You're a ledge.
Yeah, and Brooksy's coming down for 200.
He is. He's back.
He'll be here.
Yes.
Yes, very exciting
Pumped.
stuff.
Can't wait to punch you in the face again, mate. Yeah.
I'll be talking to him next week, actually, so I'll pass that message on.
Sweet. No worries. Yeah. Tell him he's a dick.
Definitely. All right. So as a trainer, as a booker, as a keen eye for talent, who is an up-and-coming Aussie grappler or grapplers that people should be keeping an eye on?
Ooh, good question. We were just talking about it today. Ricky South.
Yes. Yeah. Tough stuff.
Tough stuff, Ricky South.
He is a B-plus favourite, by the way. So
there you go. He's... from everything I've heard and everything I've seen, he seems to be picking it up faster than most people. So that's from another company. I'll just give him the plug there. From our company, I got to give it to him, Kurt Barron.
Kurt Barron.
Yeah. He's bloody taller than I am, which pisses me off to no end. He's young. He's picking it up faster than I ever did. Yeah, I reckon he's got a big future ahead of him. He's a world of talent, that fella.
Yeah, big boy.
Yeah.
And he's representing Jimmy C this weekend.
He is.
Key versus Control.
Key versus Control of the company against Hammer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Big match.
Yeah.
Big match. Looking forward to it. So, I also know you're a big film guy. Most underrated film of all time.
Underrated?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Come with the big questions, man.
All right. Okay. I'm going to hit you with this one. Now, it's only underrated because they cancelled the sequel and that pissed me off.
Okay.
Tron Legacy. Like the second one.
Okay.
Is it Tron Legacy or Tron whatever? But yeah.
The more recent one.
The more recent
one. The one that came
Not
out
the one that was
recently,
like in the 60s or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fantastic. I absolutely love it. Daft Punk did the soundtrack and it's sensational as well. And then they cancelled the sequel. It even made them millions of dollars and they cancelled the sequel. I have no idea why.
I'm going to have to go back and watch it because I remember watching both of them on a very hungover morning.
Oh, okay.
After a big house party.
All right.
And I remember thinking, just my head hurts. So I'll probably have to revisit it.
All right. There you go.
I'm going to trust your recommendation there. Now, this is one I like to ask. I think it reveals a lot about a person.
Okay.
Favorite flavor of protein shake?
Jeez. I just got to go with chocolate.
Chocolate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only because every time I stray away from it and go like, ooh, that salted caramel sounds like it would be delicious. And it ends up tasting like bloody underpants.
Yeah.
Or like I love cookies and cream chocolate. And for some reason, you get the protein shake in that flavour and all you taste is regret. That's it.
Yeah.
So chocolate all the way.
I had that experience last night. I read Men's Health and they're like, casein before bed.
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
The casein, it's the slow release protein.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
I got an apple Danish casein.
See, sounds delicious.
Sounds delicious. I love apple Danish.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Deceptive.
Like, it made me feel like I was going to throw up. Like, it was really bad.
Yeah. So, you know what I don't understand? People that drink vanilla protein shake.
Oh, okay.
It's like, so I've had this debate with people. All right, you ready? I know we're probably near the end. You're trying to wrap this up. But vanilla is not a flavour.
Okay.
It's like, if you're getting plain ice cream, what flavour do they give you? Vanilla.
Vanilla, yeah.
It's the nothing flavour.
Yeah.
So it's just plain.
Jackson Kelly, who's on the episode that dropped today, he said that he likes vanilla, right? And he's like, like Ned Flanders, my favourite flavour's plain. But then JXT, who he's facing this weekend, was like, who likes vanilla?
No one likes vanilla.
What is with vanilla?
No, you can't trust people that drink that stuff.
This is just too plain.
Yeah.
Too bland.
That's it.
All right, so last thing before we go home.
Okay.
This weekend, Saturday the 1st of September, Latvian Hall, RCW 200, first time ever. Tables, ladders, chairs.
Yes. Our first one. I can't believe it's taken this long. But what a show to do it on. Tables, ladders, chairs. There's 4 teams. We got the Rude Ones, who they're the most experienced tag team. They've been tagging together for about 10, 12 years now. You got the Millennials, who just won the belts, and they're like the up-and-coming sort of guys. Yeah. And you got the Pariah, your favourites.
Yep.
And your second favourites, because we're your actual favourites.
I'll be rocking the Pariah shirt. Oh. Sorry, man. I'll be rocking the Pariah shirt that night. Right.
Well, we like the Pariah too. Yeah. And they're just so exciting to watch those fellas. They're, always coming up with something new, trying to dance in the ring. Although if they try and dance in the ring this time, I'm probably just going to kick them. And then to finish off, the 4th team, myself and Brody Marshall, Gods and Monsters.
I have to ask, who's the god, who's the monster?
I think we're all a bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah,
Good
there
answer.
you go. Yeah, and I'm just looking forward to that sort of match, where the big guys, we can just throw people through tables. And
what can we expect?
Launch chairs at people.
Lots of violence.
Lots of violence in this one. I think it's going to be everywhere. I think it's just going to be a non-stop action going everywhere, weapons going everywhere. It's just going to be, it's going to be a war. It's going to be good.
Right. So if you're in Adelaide, make sure you get down to check it out. That's September 1st, Latvian Hall.
Yep.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Mate, thank you for having us.
This was a lot of fun.
There you go.
All right.
Woohoo.
We're doing a handshake.
We did. You guys could hear that handshake.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Matt, Grimm, Basso, thank you so much for hosting me there at the RCW Academy. It was really nice to come down and have a chat and talk about everything Riot City Wrestling. We went deep there for a minute, but we brought it back. RCW 200 is happening this weekend. Very excited for that show.
If you want to hear an interview with one of Grimm's opponents for this weekend, that is one Dean Brady of the Millennials, you can listen to that on our friends on the Turnbuckle, the similar podcast to ours over in Melbourne. They talk about the week in wrestling in general, not Australia, just in general, talking WWE, New Japan, whatever's happening. And also, of course, have an interview with our local grapplers this week. Dean Brady features on the show. Really exciting stuff. Also in Aussie Grappling interviews, if you want to check out Wrestle Radio Australia, has a good little chat with Mitch McCarthy about Queensland wrestling. That's host Todd Eastman, of course. Shout out to those guys. If you're a fan of Aussie Grapps, make sure you go and check out these interviews, and also get out and check out a show this weekend. Obviously, Riot City Wrestling we've talked a lot about today. That's happening here in Adelaide, but you, dear listener, you might not be in Adelaide. You may be in Sydney, you may be in Melbourne, you may be in Perth, you may be anywhere else in the world. So I'm going to fill you in on what else is happening around Australia this weekend, and I'm going to do it now. Starting in Victoria, PCW Energy takes place on Saturday night live from the Southeastern Entertainment Centre. Edward Dusk, Stevie Philippe, Sammy Falcon and Jake Taylor will face off in a four-way match for the Ignition Championship. Wake and Tricky will go to war in a Falls Count Anywhere affair, and the show is headlined by Lucas Daniels and Mark Cage. National Championship on the line. Tickets start from $20 for that one, so if you're in Victoria, you might want to get on down and check that one out. Over in Western Australia, Schwa have another double-header weekend as Friday night they come to you from their own Create a Wrestler workshop with the Tag Team Twister. I love this idea. This is such a phenomenal concept. Basically, it's a one-night tag team tournament where teams are drawn at random on the night. The winners of the Twister will earn an opportunity to take on the tag team champions, the Warn Bros, the following night at the Don Russell Theatre. So that's Saturday night, the Don Russell Theatre. We're all mad here. It also features Pegasus defending his Schwa Pride Championship against Glenn Maverick. Cheetor and David Nero will face off to determine the number one contender for that same title. And a street fight between Tom Leadbeater and Felix Young is set to determine who takes control of Schwa once and for all, and who needs to leave, because Schwa just isn't big enough for both of them. Schwa, that's Southern Hemisphere Wrestling Alliance for the uninitiated. Like them on Facebook, check them out. Keep up to date with them on thebplus.com. Well, they are one of my favourite storytelling companies in Australia. The stories they are telling are fantastic. It's very exciting, very engaging, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what goes down at We're All Mad Here, and of course the Tag Team Twister. Down here in South Australia, we have Pro Wrestling South Australia presenting Caged Chaos live Friday night from the arena in Paraka. Every single match will take place inside a steel cage, including a First Blood match. That's a First Blood match inside a cage. Holy shit. That one is Acid Hayes versus Jonathan Corviday. We also see the Adelaide Open Championship on the line between Ace Wilson and Colossus. Tickets start at $15. On the same night, Friday night, August the 31st, we see Wrestle Rampage return to Fowler's Live for Domination. This one has an incredible card. We've got Big Fudge, Dean Valente, Link Barnett, and Joni May facing off in fatal four-way action. Mike Boomer and Nick Golfus face off over the Cruiserweight Cup. Rat Daddy takes on the debuting Lockie Hendricks as Robbie Eagles returns to face off against AJ Istria for the first time ever. In the main event, Jonah Rock defends his Australian National Championship against Tyler Trench in a street fight. Tickets are $30 on MoshTix. That's a must-see show. Like I said, the card is absolutely stacked. On Saturday, Riot City Wrestling present RCW 200. You've heard a bit about it in the interview with Grimm. If you want to hear more, I did record a preview show with RCW's own Wolfdog. We broke down the card as it was announced at the time. Since then, another match has been announced. That's a rematch between Tony Toro and Davey Green, so that's going to be a fun one. Other than that, for those who haven't listened, we are going to see Chris Basso, Zach Sabbath, and Nick Armstrong face off for the managerial services of the Chick. Adam Brooks makes his Australian return for his first match on Aussie soil in 2018. That one's against Rocky Monero. We also have a fatal five-way for the Women's Championship as Indy Hartwell defends against Blair Alexis, Savannah Summers, Miss Fortune, and Izzy Shaw. Hammer defends his key to the city against Kurt Barron, who is fighting for Jimmy C's general managership. And of course, fatal four-way TLC. You heard Grimm talk about it. It's the talk of the town. It's going to be an amazing match. That is the Millennials defending the titles against Gods and Monsters, the Parea. the Rude Ones. What a match. I'm really looking forward to that one. It's going to steal the weekend probably. Up in Queensland, Saturday night, Impact Pro Wrestling hosts Scramble for Glory. That's at the William Duncan State School. Reaper will defend the IPW Heavyweight Championship against Bojack, Zeke Andino, Jesse Love, and Luxford in a Scramble for Glory match. Tickets for that one start at $5. Now, rounding out the weekend, I want to take a second to talk about this one. It is Battle Championship Wrestling. Now, as a kid, I was a huge fan of ECW. I was a wrestling fan. I went down to the local Blockbuster. I would have been 10, maybe. I went down to the local Blockbuster. They let me hire it, too. This is on them. I'm messed up in the head because of Blockbuster. Let's put the blame on them. I picked up an ECW Triple Threat DVD, and it also had a Mick Foley promo on it, and look, it was fantastic, and it hooked me, and I became a big ECW fan. I then went out and I got, as many of the DVDs when they had the DVDs at Big W in like the 3 for $10 bin or whatever, and it was like Hardcore Heaven 2000, I think, Guilty as Charged. There were a couple of them, and Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn had some matches on there, and just, essentially, ECW was a big deal for me in my childhood and early teen years. A big, big deal. And Rob Van Dam specifically, when he went to WWF as well, throughout the Invasion and all that sort of stuff, Rob Van Dam was, like, my dude. He was the guy for me. So this weekend is very exciting because Battle Championship Wrestling kick off the Extreme Battle Tour featuring a whole host of ECW legends. You got Shane Douglas, Tajiri, Masato Tanaka, the aforementioned Rob Van motherfucking Dam. I'm very excited for this tour, in case you can't tell. So it starts in Melbourne on Friday night at the Southeastern Entertainment Centre in Ferntree Gully. These shows are going to be a brilliant mix of wrestling nostalgia with modern-day Aussie Grapps. So I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the bringing guys over for the nostalgia kick. I'm a big fan of the World Series Wrestling way of doing things, where they've got the top talent from today's indies and they're mixing it up with our guys. But this is a perfect mix of nostalgia and the modern day, because we do have a lot of top Aussie talent work on the show. So let's take a look. We've got Dominic DeNucci, from Australia's original WCW. He's making his return, first time on Australian wrestling since 1968. Fantastic stuff there. And he is going to be the ambassador for the tour, so that's really exciting as well. The first night in Melbourne will see Slade Mercer, Mad Dog, and Shane Douglas square off in a triple threat ladders match for the number one contendership to the BCW heavyweight title. Big Cuz, Fox, Vance Adams, and Avery will take on Cletus, Vixen, Sketch, and Mitch Waterman. Now, just before, on previous shows, Avery has seemingly aligned with Vance Adams. We're not sure what's going on there, but that's going to be an interesting one to see how that plays out. Masato Tanaka will go one-on-one with Sabu. Alan Payne and Kellyanne will go one-on-one for the first time. Alan Payne has been obsessed with Kellyanne for a while, so that one's going to be a good one to watch. Katie Forbes will challenge for Indy Hartwell's BCW Women's title. Gabriel Wolf and Tone Philippe, that's the Kingdom, take on the Lads, Dowie James and JXT, for the BCW Tag Team titles. Tajiri faces off against Nick Berry. That's my pick. That's got to be close to stealing the show there. But of course, Rob Van Dam challenges Sid Parker for the BCW Heavyweight Championship. They had a brilliant match last year, and they're going to bring it home again tonight. It's going to be fantastic. Then on Saturday night, the tour continues as it rolls on to the Dom Polsky Centre in Adelaide. A mystery BCW tag team will take on Jack Rossley and Andy Faust. Tajiri goes one-on-one with Mitch Waterman. That's another one I'm very, very excited for. According to the run sheet here, I have Indy Hartwell defending the BCW Women's title against an international mystery opponent. Now, Indy Hartwell is also at Riot City that night, so I'm not sure if she's pulling double duty, or I have no idea what's going on, but that looks fantastic too. Vixen and Mad Dog take on Shane Douglas and Katie Forbes. Slade Mercer faces off with Sabu and Nick Berry in triple threat action. The Kingdom take on the Lads again, and in the main event, Jonah Rock challenges Sid Parker and Rob Van Dam in triple threat action for the BCW Heavyweight Championship. The foundations of Adelaide, if they weren't shooketh to their core
from the Wrestle Rampage domination match the night before with Jonah Rock and Tyler Trench in that street fight. When Jonah Rock looks to hit his frog splash on RVD, who's looking to hit his frog splash on Sid Park. This match, I cannot express how great this match is going to be. If you don't have tickets yet, you want to get on the website and get your tickets. Those ones are available through Mosh Tix. So definitely get on there and check it out. There's a bunch of packages that you can get with various signed posters and opportunities to get in the ring and take a photo with the ECW stars. There's a whole bunch of different packages you can look at. The general admission starts from $50. So that's going to be a really good night. Lots of really great modern-day Aussie Grapps, some of the best guys we have on offer, as well as, of course, legends of yesterday from ECW. Oh, hitting me right in the childhood. Very excited for this tour. To follow it up, though, that is not all. BCW are also presenting an extreme evening with the stars of ECW on Sunday, that's September 2nd, 7:30 p.m. at Nexus Arts in Adelaide, and that one's basically a sit-down interview, a live interview chronicling the careers of these stars of ECW, and that will also take place on Thursday, the following week, so the day before next week's Aussie Grapps episode. That's next Thursday, September 6th. The same extreme evening will take place in the Italian Forum Cultural Centre in Leichhardt, before the tour rolls on again for Sydney and Melbourne next weekend. We'll get to that next weekend on our Aussie Grapps show, but definitely make sure you get out to check out Battle Championship Wrestling and their extreme evening with the stars of ECW, as well as the shows where you can see those ECW legends tearing it up with some of the best wrestlers Australia has to offer today. Oh me, oh my, what a weekend we are in for. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Aussie Grapps episode of the B Plus podcast. If you like what you hear, hit subscribe, make sure you never miss an episode. We also talk WWE on Saturdays, we talk all the rest on Sundays, Impact on Mondays. We do various bonus episodes throughout the week as well when we can, so hit that subscribe button, make sure you never miss an episode. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes if you can. I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are known as the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit the B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. We are on YouTube, we are on Spotify, we are on Facebook, we are taking over the globe. Like, share, subscribe, and thank you very much for listening.
Hold one! Arm drag! You're not doing this, get out! Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon. You just made the list! Oh my God!
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy! Goodbye and good night! Hold two! Arm bar!
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
It's still real to me, damn it! Dummy! Hold three! The moss covered! Three-handle family